Hello, everybody. This is the second video of the video series that I started, which is UK Student Life Blueprint. In the first part of the video, we discussed what you should be focusing on in the first 2 to 3 months coming to the UK as a student, focusing on setting up your accommodation, focusing on uh, job applications, also focusing on getting the part-time job and what you should be doing. If you haven't watched the first part of this video series, please go and watch the first part before uh, watching this video. So in this video we will discuss about the graduate roles in the UK. We'll split this video into different parts. Like first we'll try and understand what the graduate roles are, what is the eligibility criteria for graduate roles, and what are the different process or interview stages that are involved to successfully uh, get selected as a graduate engineer within in a UK company. Firstly, let's start and discuss when you should be applying for your graduate when you should be applying for graduate roles. As I said in the first part of video, start your job application journey in the first month itself as a student in the UK. So you should be targeting graduate roles from month one, being a student, because there are most of the companies in most of the companies there are different intakes for graduate roles. The first and foremost intake is September intake. So most of the big companies uh, recruit graduates who can start in September of that year. So if you are starting your role in, for example, this year in September 2026, you should be your course or your university in September 2026. You should be focusing on graduate roles that are starting in September 2027. That's when you complete your course, and you will be having graduation in December 2027. That doesn't matter if you have completed your course and you have a letter from the university saying that you have successfully completed your course. That should be enough for you to start as a graduate in September 2027, even if you have your graduation ceremony in December 2027. So if you are starting in September 2026, which is this year, you should be focusing on applying for graduate roles, start for which the start date or month is September 2027. That's what most of the big companies, you can say, will be recruiting graduates, and they'll be starting their graduate role in September 2027. So, and some of the companies, there are two major intakes as such as the university. So in universities there are two intakes, basically September and January. So the same in the big companies as well. So September is a big intake, and they also recruit graduates to start from January or February as well. So these are the two major graduate intake in the UK in big companies, and and again these are two just major intakes, and there will be a lot of companies that will be recruiting in different time of the year. So just be aware of this. And basically, if you are starting your graduate role in any company in September 2026, the application usually starts in December. Sorry, if you're starting in September 2027 as a graduate, the application process gets started in December 2026 itself. So that's what I said in the first video. Please start your job application journey in September 2026 itself if you're coming in September 2026. That is because all the big companies will be recruiting graduates to start next year in September, that is September 2027. So these are the two major intakes, September and January, for the big companies that hire many graduates. And as I said, there are many other companies that could hire in different times as well. Uh, let's now discuss about what is the eligibility criteria for these graduate roles. Basically, you don't need any kind of strong experience to start as a graduate, because graduates graduates usually, if you start as a graduate in any company, you get trained for a year or 2 years on specific role that you'll be doing. You might be working in different sector, but you will get training from the company itself when you are a graduate. So don't think that any sort of experience is necessary. If you have experience, if you have internship experience, that adds an advantage to your application. That's it. So, but you don't really need any strong experience to get to be recruited as a graduate. So this is the eligibility criteria. And if you have some companies, what they do is if you have more than 2 or 3 years of experience, they don't really consider you as a graduate. Uh, so and some companies do. So it just depends on it depends on the company that you're applying for. And as I said, graduate role doesn't really need any experience or any specific strong knowledge or anything. You should be knowing some basics that you learned in the university. That's it. This is what the eligibility criteria would be, and they would be looking for some specific degrees. Like if you're say if you are starting as a graduate structural engineer, basically most of the companies would ask you will have masters in structural engineering. Again, they might also accept if you have bachelor's in civil engineering. It again just depends on the company you're applying. So the next part is when you should start applying for these graduate roles. So as I said, if you are starting in September 2026 at the university, you should be applying for graduate roles that are starting in September 2027. And the application process starts in November or December 2026, or even in October or September or October 2026. Some of the companies do start very early. Uh, so you should be you should be you should start applying for these roles in first month itself. First month, that is September 2026. Do your research, make a list of companies you want to apply for, and keep checking their website if they have any graduate roles available, because many will be posting graduate roles in November and December 2026 if you're for September 2027 graduate roles. So please keep this in mind. Start early. That's what I'm saying. Start early. Uh, that that's what it is. That's how the application process works. Now let's discuss about different stages in this application, and it again depends on the company to company. I'll give you different stages that usually involved in graduate application process. Uh, First one, if you apply when you apply for a graduate role, it's a screening round. Basically, they go through your CV. They'll make sure you have the degree they're asking for, and they'll make sure you have enough. You have bachelor's they're asking for. um, the education qualifications is a main thing. So if you get past that screening, and again, it's not only education qualifications. They check different stuff. They check if you have any volunteering experience. They check your project, what you did in your bachelor's, and again if what you're doing in your master's. Everything they check basically the whole CV. And if they think you are a good candidate, you will be invited for first stage will be HR interview. Again, HR interview might be a Teams call, or it might be a phone call. They'll call on your mobile phone, and you just basically talk to HR on the phone call. So if you clear HR round, then there will be in-person interviews. Some companies may also allow online interviews. The second stage of interview, it depends on the company. First, well, some companies might have graduate assessment centers. I'll talk about this in more detail in the video. But they might have graduate assessment centers, or they might have a single in-person or Teams interview, basically. Uh, so you go through this, and most of the time there are two stages basically. One first stage is HR stage, and second stage is your interview. It may also involve some technical questions as well. So basically, these are the two main stages in graduate application process. So now let's break down what these two stages involve. What does HR stage involve, and what does the second stage, that is interview stage, involve, or graduate assessment center involve. Let's focus on HR stage now. So in HR stage, basically they want to know, they want to understand your skills, your education background. They want to make sure you align well with the company's expectations, and they also want to make sure if the role and if the company is good enough for you. If And they also explain what opportunities they have in the company and why you should work for them and everything. This is usually a HR interview, and they might also ask some competency based questions as well. And they also discuss your current visa situation, whether you'll be needing a sponsorship in the future, etc., etc. This is basically HR interview. HR interview may last anywhere between 20 minutes to 45 minutes. Some HR interviews may take an hour as well, but I haven't really seen any HR interviews, like first stage HR interviews, that go more than 30 minutes. Basically, uh, that's what I think, but it may go up to 45 minutes as well. So basically, when they call you, they will ask you to introduce yourself. What do you do? What's your current what are you currently doing? Do you have any experience? And why do you want to work for them? And what do you know about the company? Do you know about the company's values? Do you know about the company's and vision? Missions and vision stuff. These are very important. If you apply for a graduate role, if you get a HR interview or any kind of interview, make sure you know well about the company. It's not like you should know everything, but you should at least know something about the company. They'll directly ask, what do you know about our company? What do you know? So you have to explain them what do you know. And basically what my advice would be, go through the company's values, go through company's vision mission statement, go through what sector they work in, also go through some of the projects in their website. You get all this information in the company's website, some of their projects, recent projects that they have worked on, so that you could tell them that you know that you know that they're working on this specific project. uh, that's what they expect you to know in the first HR interview. uh, you should show them that you know and you did really good research about the company before you apply for the role, and you should also be able to demonstrate your knowledge about the company. You should also be able to demonstrate your educational background and experience that make you a good fit for the specific role and the company as well. Go through the Just go through their website before actually attending this HR interview. These are basically stuff, and they also ask for your visa thing. Do you need any sponsorship in the future? What kind of visa you hold currently, and stuff. Just tell them whatever your situation is. They basically look for your interest, why you are interested in the company, what you know about the company, and what qualifications or education background or experience you have that make you a good candidate. Uh, yeah, that's it. As I said, they might also ask some competency based questions like uh, give me give me give me an example of you making quick decisions. Have you encountered any uh, in situations where you have to make quick decisions, and how did you make them? So these kind of competency based questions. And again, I don't think they'll ask uh, competency based questions in HR round itself. I think it is a part of second stage, but some HR interviews, they do ask competency based questions, and be prepared. And I'll make a separate video on competency based questions as well. What you should be focusing on, what are the I'll also give you some of the questions to prepare, and how to prepare them as well, going further in this video series. And yeah, that is basically the first round, HR round. Now let's move on to second round. As I said, there might be two types of second rounds for graduate roles. First, graduate assessment center, and second, there might just be an interview. And this round might be in person or it might be online. Now let's discuss about graduate assessment center. Graduate assessment centers are a bit tricky. Uh, I did. I have attended five graduate assessment centers till now, and I don't think I passed any of them. To be honest, no, I haven't passed any of them. But I did really have a good learning on what they expect during graduate assessment center and how what is involved in this graduate assessment centers. So let's focus on graduate assessment center uh, for some time now. Let's focus on that. So what is this graduate assessment center? Assessment center is basically a center that you go, or it could be online as well. So what they do, for example, if you have applied for graduate civil engineer role, there will be like 50 candidates who applied for graduate civil engineer role, and there are five vacancies available for the specific role. So in the HR interview, they interviewed say like 15 people, like 20 people, and they want to invite and they want to select, and they selected 10 out of 20 people, and now they only want five people out of 10. So what they do is invite all the 10 candidates to this assessment center. And again, as I said, it might be in person or it might be online. I attended four in-person graduate assessment centers and one online graduate assessment centers. So I'll just go through it step by step. Whether it is in person or whether it is online, the process remains the same. What they do and how they do it, it remains the same. So graduate assessment centers are basically you go and demonstrate all your skills and knowledge and everything, experience and everything to them in different stages. The first stage basically would be there would be an so say if you are like 10 people or say like 12 people attending graduate assessment center, and they're competing for the same graduate civil engineer role, what they do is they break you into three groups, four each. So four in group A, four in group B, and four candidates in group C. And what they do is they give you an activity to solve, for or puzzle to solve. uh, for example, they might ask you to uh, build a bridge using matchstick sellotape, and they might give you ice cream sticks and everything. They'll just ask you to go ahead, use all these stuff that we have given you, build a bridge, and they'll put conditions on how much you can use, what all you can use, and how you can use them and stuff. So what they'll do, there will be one or two supervisors uh, looking at each group, and they'll be marking how each of the candidates are contributing to this activity or contributing to this contributing in solving this puzzle. So what they look for is your contribution. It's not like whatever how you talk to your uh, teammates in the group, how you contribute, how you actually take part in solving that puzzle, or actually take part in that activity. That's what they see. They don't see if you're whatever you are saying is correct or wrong. What they say is you're saying something and you're trying to help your team to achieve that specific goal. That's what they see. And again, you should talk, and you should also allow your teammates to talk. You should make sure everybody is involved and everybody is working together to solve that specific task, and together working on that specific project or solving that puzzle. That's what they see, and they'll be marking each of the candidates that each of the candidate that is in the group. So yeah, this is one of the activities they do. They definitely do activities. That's the that is the main objective of the graduate assessment center, to assess each and every skill of you. How do you work in a team? Do you contribute enough in a team? Do you talk to your teammates? And uh, how do you help them to solve specific puzzle, as I said? So that's one of the aspects they look for in graduate assessment aspects they look for in graduate assessment center, right? So as I said, they don't actually mark you on the basis of whatever you are saying is correct or incorrect. They mark you how well are you contributing, how good of a team player are you. That's what they are looking for, and how well you can communicate with your team members. That's what they are looking for in the specific activity or puzzle, whatever you are solving. That's what they are looking for. Uh, they might also give you a technical uh, problem as well. Uh, for example, if they are working in some specific sector, uh, say say they are working in a transportation industry, and they work for some public organization, and they basically want some graduate civil engineer to work on their transportation project. They recently a project they recent contract they recently won from a public organization, for example, and they might ask you like, they have this much money allocated for a scheme to be implemented in solving the traffic center of the city, and they definitely want to what they want you to do is bring, and what we want you to do is give them five solutions that they could use the fund for, and do it efficiently. You should be considering efficiency, sustainability, environment thing, and quality of work, value for money, and different aspects. Considering all these parameters, you should provide a solution to solving the traffic issue in the city center using, say, £2 million that you got. And yeah, that's it. That they might also give different. There might be different stuff. They might give different conditions as well. Uh, yeah, basically you have to come up with options, making sure that you get value for money. It's environment friendly and good, and of a good quality, and yeah, basically. And some of the companies might give you a procurement project. They want you to procure some materials from XYZ suppliers, and they want to save money, and they want to save money on transportation, save money on different things, without having to compromise on the quality, basically. So they definitely do one of these activities. um, Definitely that's the important part of graduate assessment centers. Some companies might do two activities for fun. One might be one activity for fun activity, like solving a puzzle, building a bridge using ice cream sticks, matchsticks, and different stuff, and sellotape and different stuff. And second activity might be somewhat technical, related to the project you will be working on if you get selected. So yeah, this is basically it. And after this, there will be uh, individual interview. There will be two interviewers or three interviewers or one interviewer. There'll be and you'll be interviewed individually. In that interview, basically, they will ask you competency-based questions. They'll ask you about your project that you did in bachelor's and project that you're doing in your master's. They'll ask you about your hobbies. They'll ask you about your interest in the company, and all the competency based questions. Again, as I said, I'll discuss about competency based question in the later part of this, in the future. But yeah, and they'll ask technical questions. It's not like the technical questions will be very difficult. You should know basics of whatever role you are applying for. Graduate civil engineering should know civil engineering basics. Graduate structural engineering basics. uh, Strength of materials, bending moment, shear force diagrams and stuff. And if you're a mechanical engineer, some basics of mechanical engineering and computer. If you are computer, uh, some basic stuff you should know. And they'll ask you this. Definitely there will be 60% of the interview might be competency based, and 40% or 40%, let's say, will be technical based. uh, and some of the companies also might give you an exercise with paper and pen and ask you to solve that specific problem. That can also happen. Some companies do that, ask you to solve specific numerical, some designing column or a beam, or drawing shear force diagram or bending moment diagram for specific structure. So yeah, you should just keep in mind, you should not know each and everything. They just look at you and say, is he or she is a problem solver? If he or she is a team player, do they have enough skills or enough knowledge or enough uh, confidence to do all these aspects, what you're doing? And if you're good, are you a good candidate for them to recruit as a graduate? Yeah, basically that's what they say. This is a graduate assessment center, but make sure when you, if it's in person or even if it's online. For example, if it's in person, if you enter a building, if you enter a center and you meet somebody, from that moment you will be assessed. Whom are you talking to? And even if you are waiting for somebody, don't just sit silent. Talk to other candidates that are in the room. Talk to them, ask them what they do and what university they're from, and what they're studying, what their course is, what their experience is, and blah blah blah. It's take Try and learn from that. That's what I say. Try and learn from that. So yeah, even if it's online, just there will be they'll be breaking you into different rooms, and you will be having you will be working with some other candidates as well, solving some issues, working on something. uh, in activities, yeah, they do. And then they'll be having an individual interview, where you'll be asked again competency based questions and technical questions, and they'll go through your CV. Whatever you write on your CV, you should know it. Even if you don't know it, you should be at least know something to say. Like you cannot just write you know something, and if they ask you, and you should be able to answer. You cannot say I don't know. It's not like you should know everything. You should be able to at least demonstrate that you know something about that specific topic or specific experience or specific internship or specific project you written on your CV, that you did. So yeah, this is a graduate assessment center. uh, please be prepared for interviews. You cannot just go and sit in an interview without knowing anything, or without knowing about the company, or without really preparing. No, you can't do that. Take 1 or 2 days, prepare, and don't wait till the end to prepare for an interview. If you get an interview today, and if you have an interview after 2 weeks, spend an hour at least every day and get yourself prepared for an interview. uh, yes. So this is how the interview process works for graduates here in the UK. And it may not be the same for each and every company. This might differ from company to company, but this is what I think is mostly followed interview process here in the UK for graduate roles. Okay. Uh, Now, what will you actually do if you get recruited as a graduate? So you'll be trained on that specific role. As I said, you'll be trained. You'll not be expected to know each and everything. You'll be trained. You'll be given small projects to uh, to work on, and you'll be having senior engineers, or trainers to train you. So, and some of the companies, most of the companies, I think, if you are in a big company or if you are working for a mid scale or big company, I think you'll be, even in small companies. I'm not completely sure. You will be rotated in different teams to get different experience, because you need certain experience if you want to be chartered engineer. So if you're a graduate, you will be training for becoming a chartered engineer. You will be. That's what companies expect. And if they ask you what is your plan in the next 2 3 years or 5 years in an interview, just mention one of these as one of your goals. One of your goals is to become a chartered engineer. That is very important. They look for it. They specifically look for it, that you say and you at least know something about becoming a chartered engineer. And even when you start a graduate role, you will be trained to become a chartered engineer, maybe chartered civil engineer, structural engineer, or mechanical engineer, whatever sector you are in. But you'll be trained to become a chartered engineer, and based on that, you will be moved to different roles to get different experiences. Again, I'll talk about chartership. Uh, I'll see what information I get about chartership, and I'll let you know, guys, in the future. But yeah, just make sure you mention this, and mention this if they ask you one of your goals in the next 5 years. Should be mentioning this. Uh, they also look for your curiosity to learn. They also look for how well you communicate, how well you how good of a team player are you. They'll look for it. It's not like you should be perfect, but you should be at least be able to talk to people. That is what is important. You should be at least be able to talk to people, work in a team, try to solve problems, XYZ. Yeah. Uh, yeah, as I said, you'll be trained during your graduate role on any specific sector or specific industry you'll be working in for 1 or 2 years. Some companies have 3 years of graduate programs, so you'll be having reviews, and you'll get all the training that is required to fulfill your roles and responsibilities. You'll get all the training from the companies itself. Yeah, they do give you training. uh, all these companies usually have ICE is an institution of civil engineers. That's what my sector is. So basically, they have this institution approved training program in their specific company. If you are working for a civil engineer company, they will have a training program that is approved from ICE, and you will be trained to become a chartered engineer. But if you're working for a company that does work in mechanical engineering sector, they'll be having a training program that is approved by IMechE, which is Institution of Mechanical Engineers. So sorry. So yeah, this is the I hope you got some idea about the graduate roles in the UK, how they work, what the interview process is, and and what they usually ask in these interviews, and what graduate assessment center is, and what they look for in these graduate assessment centers, and how the HR interview usually uh, be prepared for interviews. Don't if don't do like if the interview is tomorrow, today is the day you start to prepare. No, shouldn't be like that. You should be preparing for at least a week or 2 weeks if you know the interview date. Yeah, if the interview date, they give an interview date in very short notice. If you have a very short notice, then you cannot really do anything. But if you have enough time, just put your work into preparing for the interview. And preparation is the key. If you prepare and try to learn about the company before you go and give an interview, as I said, look for their values, look for mission vision statements, look for what projects they are working on, look for what sectors they work in, and also look for where they based, different locations in the UK, and if they based globally. If they're a global company, just look for that in what all countries they work, and blah blah blah. It should be You should at least be telling something if they ask what you know, what do you know about the company, and why do you want to work for, where do you want to work for us. So this is it about the graduate roles, uh, and the application job application process is pretty simple. You go upload your CV. They ask you certain questions. Just go and ask. Just go and answer them. Uh, but yeah, they don't really ask much in the graduate applications, graduate applications. But once you go to the interview, these are all the aspects they look for. Be prepared, as I said. Uh, dress well, dress well. Do some good formal, wear some good formal dress. If you have a suit, then that is good. I don't recommend wearing. I don't say you should be wearing suit, but if you have one, please wear a suit, and try to look as a professional. I know it doesn't really matter, but that's what I advise you to do. And yeah, that's it. I guess about the graduate roles. I'll again, as I said, I'll make further videos about different aspects of the aspects you should know as a student here in the UK. If you're coming to the UK, I should be focusing on what you should know. Uh, yes, that is it in this video. Right, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.